Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. We're going to be tackling customer loyalty and value in the business world today.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. We've got some really interesting sources to work with. A marketing textbook, some real-world cases, Caterpillar, Dell, you know,
Okay, yeah.
and we'll even take a look at global examples like Hyundai and even the Tata Nano.
Wow, sounds like a diverse mix.
It is. Get ready to learn how companies are building those lasting customer relationships, even as, the world is getting more and more complex every day.
Yeah, the landscape is definitely changing. But it all starts with a concept called customer perceived value.
Customer perceived value.
Okay, so think about it. With all the information out there these days, consumers are pretty savvy.
Right. They do their research.
They really do. They're not just looking at the price tag anymore. They're considering the entire package.
So businesses can't just assume they have the best deal.
Nope, not at all. Look at Caterpillar, for example. In the heavy construction equipment market, they consistently command a higher price than their competitor, Komatsu. Yeah, sometimes even 20% more.
Wow. That's a significant difference. Why do you think that is?
Because they understand customer perceived value. Their customers consider the total package,
Right.
reliability, durability, performance, even things like resale value and service quality.
It's about the brand reputation too, right?
Absolutely. Even the company's overall image plays a part.
So Caterpillar's selling peace of mind, not just a tractor. It's about the whole experience.
Exactly. And ignoring this can be a pretty big mistake. Remember when Dell was known for its amazing customer service?
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Then they decided to cut costs by moving their call centers overseas.
And customer satisfaction just plummeted.
It did. And their market share, their stock prices, they took a nosedive.
It was a rough time for them.
It shows how neglecting the customer experience, even to save a few bucks, can have a devastating long-term impact.
A very expensive lesson to learn. So how do you personally evaluate value when you're making a purchase? I mean, are you totally price-driven, or do other things factor in?
That's a good question. I think for me, it really depends on the product. But generally, yeah, other factors definitely come into play. Reliability, quality, and customer service are all important to me. How about you?
Same here. But, okay, let's say you've got a happy customer. How do you keep them coming back for more? That's where customer loyalty comes in, right?
Exactly. And a popular way to measure that is the Net Promoter Score, or NPS.
Okay, I've heard of that, but remind me, how does that work?
It's actually incredibly simple. You ask customers one question. How likely are you to recommend this company to a friend or colleague?
That's it, just one question.
Yep, just one. They answer on a scale of 0 to 10. And based on their answer, you categorize them as either a promoter, a passive, or a detractor.
So just one question gives you a snapshot of customer loyalty.
It does. To get your NPS score, you subtract the percentage of detractors from the percentage of promoters. Anything above 50 is considered world-class.
Interesting. Do you have any examples of companies with really high scores?
Yeah. Back in 2014, companies like USAA, Amazon, and Costco were consistently scoring in the 60s, 70s, even 80s.
Wow, that's impressive. They were clearly doing something right to build that kind of loyalty.
They were. But, of course, no single metric is perfect. There are valid critiques of NTS. Some say it's too simplistic. Others question the research behind it.
Yeah, I can see that. But even if it's not a magic bullet, it gets companies thinking about customer loyalty and measuring it, which is a step in the right direction.
I agree. And it leads us to the concept of customer lifetime value, or CLV. This shifts the focus from making a quick sale to building those long-term, profitable relationships.
So it's about playing the long game.
Exactly. You know the 80-20 rule. It applies here, too.
All right.
Often, the top 20% of a company's customers generate the majority of their profits.
Wow, so losing even a small percentage of those top customers could really hurt.
It could be devastating to the bottom line.
So understanding CLV is crucial. How are companies using this to their advantage?
They're turning to sophisticated data analytics to identify their most valuable customers, understand their needs, and then tailor their marketing accordingly. Harrah's Entertainment, the casino company, is a great example.
Okay, what did they do?
They've been using data analytics for years. They track gambling habits, reward loyal customers, and personalize offers to keep them coming back.
It's like they're creating custom-made experiences to maximize those long-term relationships.
You got it.
But things have changed so much with the digital age, haven't they? I mean, personalization is everywhere now.
You're right. And technology is taking personalization to a whole new level.
It's kind of amazing how companies can tailor everything these days. From product recommendations to marketing messages, it's like They know us better than we know ourselves sometimes.
They're getting pretty good at it. And a big part of that is CRM, customer relationship management.
Right. CRM. Fill me in. What's that all about?
CRM systems are like gold mines of customer data.
Right.
They track everything: interactions, preferences, purchase history, even social media activity.
So they can use that information to really fine-tune their approach.
Exactly. It allows companies to create those wow moments that make customers feel valued and understood. Like, have you heard of British Airways Know Me program?
No, I don't think so. What's that?
Imagine this. You board a flight, and the flight attendant already knows your preferred seat, your meal choices from past flights, even if you had any recent complaints.
Wow, that's incredible. But also a little, I don't know, creepy maybe? Like, how do they know all that?
That's the question, isn't it? Where's the line between helpful personalization and privacy?
It's a good question.
The rise of behavioral targeting using cookies to track your online behavior is a big part of it. It's how you get those targeted ads.
Yeah, I see those all the time.
It's a controversial topic for sure. Some people like seeing ads that are relevant to their interests, while others find it a bit intrusive.
I can see both sides. Sometimes those targeted ads are helpful, but yeah, it does feel a little strange knowing companies are tracking everything you click.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Definitely. So how can companies navigate this tricky territory?
The key is transparency. Companies need to be upfront about how they're collecting and using our data, and give us more control over our privacy settings.
Transparency and control are essential in this digital age. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and look at customer loyalty on a global scale. I mean, trying to build those relationships with people from all different cultures and backgrounds has to be a whole different challenge, right? What works in one country might not work at all in another.
You're absolutely right. It's a whole different ballgame. A perfect example is Hyundai's transformation over the years. They went from making, let's be honest, cheap, kind of unreliable cars to becoming a major player in the global market.
That's quite a turnaround. How do they manage that?
By understanding and adapting to the global landscape, they shifted their focus to quality, innovation, and really smart marketing. One of their biggest moves was introducing a 10-year warranty.
Bold move.
It was. It showed customers they were serious about quality and reliability. They also made big investments in design and styling, creating cars that had broader appeal.
So they went from underdog to top dog by understanding what customers wanted in different parts of the world.
Exactly. They adapted their products and the messaging to resonate with different audiences. Global expansion isn't just about translating your website. You need to really understand the cultural nuances and preferences of your target markets.
It's like Campbell's Soup Company. Remember when they tried to launch their condensed soup in England?
Oh, yeah. What a disaster.
It was. British consumers just didn't get it. They were used to ready-to-eat soup. Adding water was a foreign concept.
It was a costly lesson in the importance of understanding local tastes.
Totally. What about companies from developing markets like Wipro and Cemex? They're becoming major players on the global stage, aren't they?
They are. It's a fascinating trend. These companies have a deep understanding of the needs and desires of consumers in their home markets, and they use that knowledge to expand globally.
It's a whole new world of competition, for sure.
It is. It highlights how important it is to build brands with universal appeal while still being sensitive to those local variations.
Finding that balance is key. But I think this is a good place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground, but it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
I agree. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the future of customer loyalty in this ever-evolving global market.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We were talking about these rising developing markets, places with huge potential, but also like a whole other set of challenges.
Yeah, places like Brazil, for example. We touched on Unilever's success with Tresemme there.
Yeah, they really nailed it.
They did. They went beyond just offering a low price, you know?
Right, because people in these markets, they want more than just a bargain.
Absolutely. They have aspirations, too. They want brands that align with their lifestyles, their values, the whole package.
It's about recognizing that. But it's not just the product, is it? There's also the whole distribution side of things.
Oh, yeah. Getting your products into the hands of consumers in developing countries can be a real logistical nightmare.
I bet the infrastructure might not be there, right?
Exactly. And instead of those big chain stores, you might be dealing with a massive network of small, independent retailers.
Think millions of mom and pop shops, all with their own ways of doing things.
Yeah. So those traditional retail models just don't always work. companies need to get creative.
What kind of creative solutions are we talking about?
While partnering with local distributors who already have those established networks is one way, or leveraging mobile technology to reach consumers directly. Sometimes it even means creating entirely new channels that are specific to that region.
It's about being resourceful and adaptable, right? Finding what works in that specific market.
Exactly. Necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. And speaking of innovation, we can't forget about the role of technology in these developing markets, especially smartphones.
Oh, yeah. Smartphones have completely changed the game in so many of these countries.
It's amazing how quickly they've become so widespread. And it goes way beyond just communication now. People are using their phones for banking, for shopping, for accessing information, everything.
It's like a lifeline for so many people.
It is. And it's creating all these new opportunities for businesses to build those customer relationships.
So, how are companies using smartphones to boost customer loyalty?
Well, you've got personalized marketing campaigns delivered right to the customer's phone. You've got mobile payment options for added convenience. You can even have customer support provided through messaging apps.
Wow, it really is about meeting customers where they are.
Exactly. And that's increasingly on their mobile devices, especially in these developing markets.
It's pretty amazing how technology can bridge those gaps. But what about things like language barriers and cultural differences? Those have to be major hurdles, right?
Oh, they definitely are. Simply translating your slogans and marketing materials isn't enough. You need to really understand the nuances of the culture, the values, even the type of humor that resonates with your audience. What works in one country might completely flop in another.
It's like that saying lost in translation. So much can get misinterpreted.
Exactly. And one area where this is especially important is with comparative advertising. In North America, it's pretty common to directly compare your product to a competitor's.
Right, you see it all the time.
But in other parts of the world, that can be seen as too aggressive, even disrespectful.
It all comes down to cultural sensitivity, doesn't it?
It does. You need to strike that balance between staying true to your brand identity and adapting your message to fit the local culture.
Speaking of adapting, pricing has got to be a tricky issue in global markets.
Oh, it definitely is. Think about trying to set prices in all these different countries, with exchange rates fluctuating constantly and varying levels of purchasing power. It's a real headache.
Sounds like a logistical nightmare. How do companies even approach that?
It's a tough one. They have to weigh their options. Do they set a uniform price everywhere, even if it's not affordable in some markets? Or do they set different prices for different countries, which creates logistical problems? And then there's the added complexity of online marketplaces where price transparency is becoming the norm.
So many factors to consider. It's like walking a tightrope.
It is. Companies need to find pricing strategies that are both profitable and competitive in each market they enter. It's no easy task.
Not at all. And then there's the gray market and counterfeiting to worry about, right? Those seem to be growing problems.
Yeah, unfortunately. So the gray market is basically the trade of goods through channels that aren't authorized by the original manufacturer or brand owner.
So it's like those products you see being sold on the street sometimes. You're not sure where they came from, but they're definitely not from an official retailer.
Exactly. Someone might buy a product in one country where it's cheaper and then resell it in another for a profit. It undercuts the brand's pricing strategy and can damage their reputation.
It sounds like a constant game of whack-a-mole for companies.
It can be. And then you have counterfeiting, which is even worse. That's the production and sale of outright fake products.
Like those knockoff handbags and watches you see being sold on street corners.
That's one example, but it goes way beyond that. Counterfeiters are getting incredibly sophisticated. They're replicating electronics, pharmaceuticals, even car parts. And it's not just a problem in developing markets, it's a global issue.
It's a bit scary, honestly.
It is. Not only are companies losing money, but it puts consumers at risk. Those counterfeit products might not be safe or effective.
It's a huge problem. So how are companies fighting back?
They're using a mix of strategies. Some are using technologies like RFID tags and holograms to make their products harder to copy. Others are working with law enforcement to crack down on counterfeiters, and they're also running consumer education campaigns to raise awareness about the dangers of fake goods.
It sounds like a never-ending battle.
It can feel that way sometimes. But let's talk about something a little more positive. Country of origin effects.
Country of origin effects. What are those?
It's basically the idea that consumers have certain perceptions about products and brands based on where they're from. For instance, you might associate Italian products with style and craftsmanship, or German products with quality engineering.
Oh, I get it. Like how people often think of Swiss watches as being the best.
Exactly. Those perceptions, whether positive or negative, can really influence purchasing decisions. Smart companies use their country of origin as a marketing asset, playing up those positive associations.
It makes sense. But I guess if a country has a negative image, that could hurt its brands.
It could definitely be a challenge to overcome, but when used strategically, country of origin effects can be a powerful tool for global marketers. It all ties back to that idea of understanding your audience and tailoring your message accordingly.
It's fascinating how all these different factors play a role in shaping customer loyalty and value in a globalized world.
It really is. As the world gets smaller and consumers are exposed to more and more options, their expectations keep rising. Companies can't afford to just focus on their domestic market anymore.
They have to think globally from the start, even if they're not selling internationally yet.
Exactly. They need to be aware of global trends and how those are impacting consumer behavior.
So, to sum it up, building customer loyalty in this globalized market takes a lot of effort.
Right.
You need a deep understanding of cultural differences and a willingness to adapt your strategies.
Exactly. One size fits all just doesn't cut it anymore. You need to be flexible, resourceful, and ready to experiment to find what works in each market.
It's almost like you need to be a chameleon, constantly adapting to blend in.
That's a great analogy. And of course, we can't forget about the role of technology in all of this.
Right, technology is such a powerful tool for building those customer connections, but it also brings up ethical concerns about data privacy and how much personalization is too much.
Absolutely. That's a crucial conversation that companies need to be having. Finding that balance between using data to enhance the customer experience while respecting privacy is key.
No easy answers there. But this has been a really eye-opening discussion so far. We've covered so much, but it feels like we're just scratching the surface of this whole customer loyalty thing.
I agree. It's such a dynamic and constantly evolving topic. But now I think it's time to move on to our final segment. Let's delve into the future of customer relationships and explore some of the trends that are shaping this exciting landscape.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We've talked about everything from customer perceived value to the challenges of building relationships in a global market. One thing's for sure, customer loyalty is not just a nice bonus anymore, it's essential for any business that wants to thrive.
Absolutely. And with technology changing so rapidly, the future of those relationships is, well, it's pretty exciting.
It is exciting. So what trends do you see shaping the future of customer loyalty? What's on the horizon?
Well, one big one is AI, artificial intelligence. You hear it everywhere these days.
AI, yeah, it's the buzzword of the moment, but how's it actually being used to, improve the customer experience? How does that work?
Oh, in so many ways, AI is powering those chatbots that give you instant customer support. It's behind those personalized recommendations that seem to know what you want before you do. And it's even being used for predictive analytics, which helps companies figure out what customers need before they even ask.
It's like having a personal assistant who can anticipate your every need.
That's a great way to put it. Imagine a retail website that uses AI to recommend products based not just on what you've bought before, but also your browsing history, your social media activity, even what's happening in the news.
Wow, that takes personalization to a whole new level.
It does. AI has the potential to completely change the way companies interact with their customers.
It's incredible. But along with all this AI comes the importance of data, right?
Data is key.
Yeah.
Companies are collecting huge amounts of data about their customers, everything from their demographics and purchase history to their online behavior.
Okay, but it's not just about collecting it, right? It's about using it effectively.
Right. By analyzing this data, they can spot patterns, predict what customers will do next, and create even more personalized marketing.
It's about making those connections with customers feel genuine and relevant.
Exactly. But of course, there's the other side of that coin. All this data raises some serious questions about privacy.
You're right, it's a big responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, companies have to be transparent. Customers need to know how their data is being collected and used, and they need to have control over their privacy settings.
Transparency and control, those are essential. Okay, let's talk about another big trend, the experience economy. What's that all about?
It's the idea that people are looking for more than just stuff, more than just products and services. They want experiences. Experiences that are memorable, engaging, and personalized.
So it's about creating those wow moments that customers will remember and talk about.
Exactly. Companies are realizing they need to go beyond just selling things. They need to create experiences that connect with customers on an emotional level.
Do you have any examples of brands that are doing this well?
Think of Apple. Their stores aren't just places to buy a phone, they're designed to be these cool community hubs where you can connect with the brand. Or Starbucks, they've created this third place, not work, not home, but somewhere you can relax and enjoy your coffee. And then there's Disney. They're masters at creating those magical experiences that stay with you long after you've left the theme park.
It's about creating lasting memories that make people feel connected to a brand.
You got it. And as this experience economy keeps growing, we're going to see even more creative ideas from companies who want to engage their customers on a deeper level.
It's an exciting time to be a customer, that's for sure. So, as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Building those strong customer relationships today takes a lot more than it used to. It's about understanding what customers value, using technology responsibly, creating those amazing experiences, and adapting to this constantly changing world.
It's a lot to consider, and we've covered so much today, but it feels like we've only just begun to explore this whole idea of customer loyalty.
We have. It's a fascinating and complex topic, and one that will only get more interesting as technology and customer behavior continue to evolve.
Well, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I've learned so much about how these relationships work.
It's been a pleasure talking about this with you.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this journey. Remember, your loyalty is valuable. Choose the companies that truly value you and your business.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those customer loyalty fires burning.